What's that? Done that. I've done the whole thing. I'm kind of on the.
Are we started?
Investor.
Okay, then I will.
So I'm like,
All right.
So when you say my dad, so I get back, I actually had a good one. I was. Yeah. So I couldn't got out of my.
I know what else.
Jason, is this how it feels when everybody sits in their staff? Can I add a question?
You're amused at first.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Like, here's the thing, guys, my thoughts are you're running the show. It's something casual, that's maybe. That is, yeah, it's just like what we were talking about.
Good.
Yeah.
I have to start off feeling.
And reach by.
Are you sure?
You do.
Why? I don't want that.
Easier at the top.
Well, sure, you guys are popular. You wanna hide it and be down?
Oh, wait, get rid of my gum.
Do you wanna, you're saying.
Like,
Very good.
No, I've never.
Like.
Yeah, all right, guys. Hi, real
That's okay.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Wow.
All right. We're gonna start.
Okay.
You guys wanna introduce yourselves? And tell us why you decided to get into real estate. It's gonna be very casual.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That's it. Okay, I'm Krista Foss, and real estate kind of found me. I wasn't even looking. I didn't dream about it my whole life. Wasn't on the radar. And I was approached one day at my job, which was director of connections and hospitality at a church for 8.5 years, and was approached about have you ever considered real estate? And I said, nope, never. And I loved what I did at the time. But then she told me about this free licensing, and I thought it would be kind of silly. I have kids that are about to graduate college, just to not even like tuck it away for a rainy day. And about a year later, so it was kind of like marinating. And then a year later, the time came where I was just restless in my work, and I had already kind of done the shift mentally. So that's it. Somebody kind of believed in me and thought I would be a good fit. And sometimes people see things in you that you don't see in yourself. And so it's paid off. It's been great. Yeah.
The first question is like the hardest one.
It's easy.
I am a retired police officer, so I guess I kind of wanted to find something that was totally the opposite of that. And that was kind of this. And honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but after doing some research, I was like, that'd be good, I think. Make my own schedule. I'm not called in like I was, and obviously we know that our schedules can change, but it's nice to be in charge of your own schedule. And I think it was just needed. And I liked being able to connect with people still and show them homes on a good day of their lives instead of a crappy day of their lives. So yeah, I like it.
These guys are both super modest, and so I'm gonna pull a lot of things out of them, and they're gonna hate it. But I think it's necessary for you guys to know how awesome they are. So I'm gonna start with asking you, what did your production look like in your first year? Because just so you guys know, they were number 1 and 2 rookies in our entire region. That's 4,500 people in like a lot of states, 5, I think. So that's cool. And they hate that I tell you that.
Yep. So for me, it was 7 transactions actually, which isn't a ton in all honesty, but it was 6 listings, 1 buy, and that equated to 4.1 million.
Which is amazing. Typically, we see new agents start more with buyers, right? And it's easier to kind of get buyers. And so to have that many listings right away is awesome.
Yeah, and I had just 3 parties basically in all of those transactions. 1 equated to 4 of them. And then I had a buy sell, and then I had sell.
And
So three people basically made up my whole year. Yeah, which is really cool. Yeah.
we're going to dig more into that in a second. Tell us about you.
15 properties. 5 listings and 10 buyers. Yeah, kind of a variety. Some are up north in my hometown, some are down here, retired police, college friends. Yeah, a big variety, but kind of all over the state.
15 is a lot in your first year. That's wild. That was a full year,
Yeah,
right?
that's insane.
Yeah,
March to March,
March to March.
right.
Yeah,
And I
March
was
first
January-
year, my first year, yeah.
Right, and I'm January to January. I licensed in December, was active in January.
So
that
we're
was a
talking cap
full-
years, like when your cap restarts,
Right.
not calendar years.
Yeah.
Where did your guys' leads come from?
100% Sphere, family and friends. That's it.
I had Sphere, and then again, like that police network, a lot of my old partners. And I had 1 from the RISE program and 3 from open houses, which was pretty cool, because I didn't know if I was gonna get any from opens, but it actually worked out.
Krista, can you break down Sphere a little more for us? Because you said that 4 of your transactions came from one person.
Yeah. Yep. So my Sphere family, who I've known my entire life. And I've been developing relational. Right? Cool. So I've been developing relational equity with them forever. And then the friendships, those were all 12-year plus of just relationship and doing life together. They are probably the only people that would trust me with the magnitude of it within a first year of a career. I think they just knew that if I did something, I was going to do it well, like that was a track record. And so why would real estate be any different? And I'm really thankful because when I really think about that, it blows my mind because it's a big deal. And it's a huge financial risk.
Would you mind sharing with us how you got into that relationship or got into the conversation with the person that led to so many transactions?
Yeah, so right out of the gate, and I would encourage anyone who's going through school to communicate that you're in school. Don't hold that, don't keep that down, because I didn't even realize I was developing my first or nurturing my first lead before I was even licensed. It was just basically a family friend who was in commercial real estate. He reached out to me. I was on my way from class. Didn't know if I was gonna even swing this whole thing, license, get past the exams, anything. And he called me on my way home from class and said, "I have your first listing." I didn't even really know what that was. I was like, "Great."
What's a listing?
Yeah. And so I was terrified. I said, "You know that I'm not even licensed yet, but the best way to learn is to do it." And I'm like, "And you're willing to risk that on me?" And so because that first one went well and I fumbled my way through it, and basically Wendy did the transaction, let's be honest. Because of that, I was able to succeed. And that's what I've learned too along the way. Like, this market center won't let you fail. So it was just that, and it just equated to that first opportunity. And because that went well, it led to 2 more and then another one eventually throughout the year. Yeah.
So there's a couple things I heard there that I think are important. One, you said the market center won't let you fail, but I think there's a caveat. If you plug in.
Yep.
Right? So
That's huge.
find a relationship, find someone you can latch onto, find a mentor, find a team. There's so many ways to find someone, but there are a lot of people in this market center who will help you and help you be successful.
Mhm.
You have to meet people though, and you have to show up and you have to have those conversations to be able to figure out who those people are. The other thing you said is that this one relationship led to so many, and you maybe got lucky in that it was one of your first conversations that you
Yeah.
had, right?
Mhm.
And having lots of those conversations
Mhm.
can almost ensure that you'll stumble on some relationships that can lead you into more and more referrals,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I have one currently from that person. And I will likely do a buy sell with them personally, because these are a lot of rental properties for them. So now they're at the point where they're looking to do a move. So then that'll actually end up being like 7 with one
Yeah.
person.
So cool.
you just never know where those
you
relationships
have
are
no
going to
clue.
go, right?
Right.
So if it's $100,000 transaction or $800,000 transaction, those are the same experience for your client. And if you do really well with that, that's how you get referrals, that's how you build business. There's not a difference in the client experience
Yeah.
between your $1 million transaction and any of the other
And I
ones.
remember my son asked me that. He's like, Mom, what do you do different for the $1 million? I'm like, nothing. And that shocked me, but it's actually that true.
Mhm.
Like, it feels like it should be, but it's
Yeah.
just the same structure,
not.
same everything.
Totally.
I mean,
Yeah.
for me personally, that's something that I've always kind of prided myself on is I don't care if you're buying $100,000
Mhm.
condo or $2 million house, you are still important,
Yeah.
right? And that transaction, that experience
Yeah.
is still probably the biggest transaction of your life and super impactful. So we treat those people the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. You. Where's yours all come from?
What'd you say?
Where yours all came from?
Oh, so mainly, a lot were from police, but I think in panels like this, I hate when people don't go into details. Like
Right.
Chris and I said, we're gonna really try like, okay, please, how'd you do that? I guess just having good relationships with my partners while I was an officer with them, but then doing the follow-up when I left. So I like talked to my sergeant, I wrote a letter to each officer, put their name on it, really like made it personal. Let's connect, let's grab lunch. I want to share with you my new endeavor. And I think just like building that trust with them in a different way than we had on the street working together. So
And they took you up on lunch. They
Yeah.
said, yes, let's go.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that scary. I think people get scared to write these letters or reach out
Yeah.
to people in their past life.
Mhm.
Or they have a little bit of like imposter syndrome
yeah.
where
Oh,
they're like,
yeah.
I
Totally.
want to have lunch with you about real estate, but I haven't actually sold the house,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
how'd you get past that and still reach out to them?
I don't know, probably Corey in some ways, because he did something similar when he left, so it was kind of nice to have some type of. How do I reach out to them without being pushy? But also I wanted to give myself enough time, like, okay, I left policing. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, I'm a realtor now. I kind of wanted to give it a little bit of time, so I
How much
think
time
I
did
was
you give it?
nurturing it. I don't know, probably a month.
It's not that much time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it is.
Yeah. I'm very much myself, if you can't tell, so,
So good.
yeah, and I think open houses, just be like as casual as you possibly can be. I think that's my biggest advice. I try to like follow a script and like memorize it before people walk in, and that just made me look like a robot. So be casual. I don't even talk about the house, like at the very beginning. Like just wait, they'll bring it up to you. I don't follow them around. It's very much like I'm hanging out in the kitchen, come find me when you're done. Like something to break the ice or something you're in common with right away. And then you'll just know your people, because I know the people that they're like, I want nothing to do with you. I'm gonna put my eyes on the ground and I'm walking out the door. Then there's people that are a little more welcoming, where you're like, okay, I think I can dig into that relationship a little bit more. So,
And we have more questions about open houses. Too.
yeah.
So with more. Okay, so when you first got licensed, you touched on this a little bit, but if you have more to share about this, how did you let people know that you were an agent? Because being a secret agent
Mhm.
isn't really going to help you build relationships, right? So how did you get out there and share that with people?
I just told people, I mean, I did the initial introduction, like, hey, everyone, if you haven't heard, I'm in real estate now, because they only knew me in this one capacity for so many years. So social media was everything with that. That was the only way to reach the masses and let them know. And then just a lot of word of mouth. I came from a really large church, so I knew a lot of people, and word just gets out. It just does organically, and just in conversations with family. I don't know.
Can I get really specific?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna put you on the spot
Sure.
here, so I'm sorry.
No deal.
You're in a conversation with someone that you just see, let's say you're at church or at the store or wherever.
Mhm.
How do you get into, I'm in real estate? Because again, you're not flashy, you don't,
Oh,
you know,
I
how do
would
you
just
dig
say
into that?
I have started a new career.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's no joke at age 50.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so I'm excited about it, and, that was probably the easiest way
Mhm.
to do. Just, I'm new to this, like I'm starting something new, it's exciting, and just sharing it in that way.
Mhm.
So just knowledge, just let people, I think you just have to let people know before you feel qualified to let them know.
Because if I ask you, how are you?
Uh-huh.
What's your natural question back to me after you answer?
Good, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Correct. And then all of a sudden it's, oh my gosh, I started a new career.
Yeah,
It's crazy,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
And so you don't necessarily, again, it's all about how you connect with other
just
people.
natural. You can't, people will pick up so quickly. They'll see through.
Yeah.
Forced,
Communication.
yeah,
Mhm.
or salesy. That was always
Yeah.
my great, we've talked about that, yeah.
Yeah.
To just not, present that way, because it's just not who I am. Yeah, and Corey, you spoke to that at our
100%.
big thing. That's what
You
resonated
tell
with
people
me
through
so
the
much.
process.
That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah. You have to care about people.
That's good.
How'd you let people know?
I think similar. I did, the scariest thing, I did a Facebook video. Also, like, keep in mind
I
that.
should bring it up.
You can, I don't even know. what it is.
Deleted it, that we talked
Yeah,
about.
you just gotta post it.
I
Yeah.
just keep deleting it.
Oh, you do? Yes, I'm gonna make you post it.
Oh.
Fun.
But yeah, so I did a video and I think it was, I was a police officer during like George Floyd and Kim Potter, so there was no social media for me, like I was off. So then it was kind of like, hi, add me as your friend again. Remember me, I'm alive and I'm a realtor. So I think it kind of was like an extra shock to people. And I bribed my family, my friends, a random person, just like, please post this and share my stuff. And
Like
so-
it, comment it, share it, because if you
Yeah.
get that initial engagement really quickly, the algorithm's gonna push it out to more people because
Yep.
the algorithm sees, oh, people like this content, so we should push it out to the rest of your friends. Because on average, these posts that get pushed out to, I think it's like 10% of your friends,
Yeah.
unless the algorithm sees people like it. So I think that piece is huge, and that's a really good, just specific tip.
Mhm.
Figure out who your people are and ask them to support you and ask them to do little things like that, right? People don't have to buy and sell with you to support you. There's little things they can do.
No, totally.
How many views did you get on that video?
I'm curious. I have no idea.
Oh, I thought you said like, oh, likes. You had a lot of likes. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
like 200 plus,
That's pretty good.
which is like, I've never had that on anything, but I think I was very much myself. I tripped over my words. It wasn't any flashy, like, I don't know, what's that called? Beauty filter or whatever. Like, it was just me in my car. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna watch it. I had my fiance watch it and I was like, okay, it's good. I did swear in it. Perfect. So, yeah, but very much myself.
5 whole minutes and no swear words.
I'm old now. Don't watch it now. Maybe there was.
Put it on the list. I really think that being authentic is actually probably the biggest piece from that, right?
Yeah.
Don't watch your social media videos before you post them. I don't. I'm on my stories all the time, and if I watched them, I would never put them up.
Yeah.
But I can't tell you how many conversations start organically from just responses to my videos and my stories. Because I'm a weirdo and I'm okay with it. Like,
Yeah.
you be yourself.
Yeah, you can't be anything else, right? Otherwise, it's just so obvious.
Nobody wants to work with you if you're not yourself, really.
No.
And here's the nice thing, is if you're yourself in these videos and you're yourself on social media, the people that actually pick up on it and the people that connect with you are people that know, like, and trust you. And would you rather work with people that know, like, and trust you for who you are, or someone that is working with you for and they think you're someone different, right? Your job is a lot better when you're working with people who already like you and already trust you and probably work similarly to you, or they wouldn't have connected with you. So,
Yeah.
don't waste your time trying to be someone else. Okay, we are kind of going into social media. So what has worked for you with social? Do you have a social media strategy?
Social media, yes. Strategy, no.
It's
It's actually at the top of.
you're actually
Oh,
really good at
it's at
social.
the top of my list, video specifically. I read, I have a quote. So I read this recently. It just says, 79% of consumers would rather watch a video about a product than read about it. Information learned through audiovisual communication is recalled 68% more reliably than information learned through text. So 80% of users recall a video ad they viewed in the past 30 days. So that's why I kind of I want what sticks.
Mhm.
So to me, video is kind of what I want to hone in on. Now, the unfortunate thing is it'll take me about 50 takes to actually post the video. And then I'll go run and show it to my husband, and he'll have some feedback, and then I'll go up, he's like, just do it. I'm like, I
No feedback. We don't want it.
no feedback. So I've never done a live, so you can hold me accountable. I'll try to do some more live things, but
If you
There's
start in
part of
your
me still that
stories,
wants to present like, well, right?
start in your stories, they're less scary.
Yeah.
Your stories only last for 24 hours and they go away. They're not permanently on your feed forever, so
Mhm.
you only have to like stress about it for one day. and then
I
they're
make
gone.
Wendy send me tutorial videos often.
Tutorial videos on what? How to make
Just
videos?
between, no, just between us, I'll be like, how do I do this? She'll be like, she'll record it and shoot it to me. I'm like, perfect. No, yeah.
Couple social media video, just like quick tips. Put captions on your videos. There's buttons for it. You don't have to type them. But people either listen with their volume on or they don't. And you all know that if you have a spouse that has their volume on loud all the time and the video comes on and you're like, why do you have volume on your phone? You're just one person or another. So put the captions on there because some people will read all your captions and never turn the volume on. Others will listen to you. So now you're capturing both types of people when you have your captions. And then if you're doing social media, film it this way, unless you're doing YouTube, and it's this way. But if you're on Instagram, Facebook, anything else, it's always this way. Mhm. I'm trying to think if there's anything else big. Don't watch it.
It should take a minute, not like 35.
Unless you're using like a Reels or a TikTok, because then you just need to edit out all your dead space, like all of it. You want no dead space in between all of your sentences. You can take all your your fillers. It's great.
Hey Brooke, I have something to add as well.
Who is that?
Keely.
I'll put her on.
Keely,
Hi, Keely. I should have known that.
Oh.
I'm so sorry that I couldn't be there. My car is currently on the side of the road, so I have to go get that, but I'm in the elevator.
Go ahead.
So I went to a wine, cheese and reels thing with Melanie Dunker, and she kind of talked about how to make a video, and she said set your phone up and start taking a video, have a script, and then say something to the phone, and then pause, look at your script, say something to the phone, and just edit out all that blank space.
Yeah.
And that's what I do, and it works very well for my little TikTok that I make, but I just wanted to share that because I thought it was like, I never thought about that, and I thought it was super beneficial for myself.
Her TikTok videos are funny. You should go follow them. She's all over the place. I love it. And I can only say that because we already talked about it. It's fine. Thank you, Keely. That's a good tip. Hannah, tell me about your social media.
Work in progress, trying to get myself on a race with it. I think I do really well, then I kind of fall off the train a bit. I think it's just, for me, it's just like having a system in place that makes it consistent. Like, you know how you can schedule posts? I just need to do that so that it just looks much more consistent. So it's not like random. But I do find like my people that know, like, trust me, like have done life with me, like they'll share it without me asking and they'll like it without me asking. And all of you guys are so great about it. Like, it's just nice. Just do it. Don't.
It's a free way
Yeah.
to show up in front of people and remind them that you're in real estate and stay top of mind.
Yeah.
Um,
And it doesn't have to be about real estate.
No, right.
I post about my dog every day or the music I'm listening to, or, you know,
when
they'll find out.
when do you get your best engagement?
I don't know.
You put it in.
Can I check that? Oh, did I put that? Oh, yes. Yeah. There's a good caption, hashtag, like time of day. I just asked ChatGPT when's a good time to, you know what I mean? Proofread this, make sure it sounds good. But yeah, when I'm being silly, I trip over my words, I'm myself. That's when it's the best. So,
If you're boring, people will skip over you. There's a lot of ways to not be boring. And sometimes it's just being, like you said, silly, your own personality. People don't want to see like bright and shiny, perfect life. They want to see real life. So if you're kind of crazy, be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
If you're funny, be funny. If you're dry and sarcastic, be dry and sarcastic. Be who you are.
and don't think you need to have like full face of makeup on and all this, just do
Show
it.
up.
Like I post half of mine, I'm in a baseball cap and no makeup, you know, that's what I like to wear. So it's,
If you wait until you
You.
look perfect and are perfect, you'll never post. Anything else you guys want to talk about from a social media standpoint?
When are you doing your next video strategy class?
Well, we have Ignite coming.
Okay.
And I'm teaching the social media class in Ignite
Awesome.
on May 6th. May 6th, I think. I suppose I could look at my own calendar.
May
May
6th,
6th.
10:35.
And there's one before it.
Capture leads with open houses.
I knew that. Okay, you guys are both very relational people.
Mhm.
If someone were to want to become a relational person, what qualities would they need to start working on within themselves to become that?
I would say ask questions, learn about people, like find that common thread. You will normally find something, and to listen more and talk less.
It's hard.
I don't like blank space at all, so I try to fill it.
I think best agents ask the question and shut up.
Yep. Yeah, that's intentional, you have to be.
And that's coming from someone who talks a lot, like my whole life. My middle school email was Babylon Brooks, so.
Really? That's amazing. That's good.
Still use it for jokes. Asking questions is big. People love to talk about themselves. And if you can get them talking about themselves, they automatically like you more. Because you're listening to them. And not a lot of people have that.
Yeah, I agree. I think asking questions, giving them space to talk, being a really good active listener, see what you can pull out of the conversation, even if you don't talk about it right there. But like, this is kind of funny, but I have a client, a military family coming here from Kansas, and her son is obsessed with sticks, like wood sticks from a tree, like it's his thing. So I've been doing like virtual showings, just doing FaceTime with them, and I noticed there was a lot of sticks in the yard, and the tree was falling apart, and the kid was just ecstatic because he remembered that I knew he liked sticks, and that's the house they want. You know what I mean? It's just weird, but just a little thing. She's like, I cannot believe you remember that. That means so much to us, especially with me being miles away from you in a different state, So,
Yeah, I think when we were prepping, you were talking about remembering people's dogs' names, remembering their kids'
Yes.
names, remembering their favorite foods, like those little details are
Yeah.
huge.
I have one that I'm nurturing right now. I just know she likes Diet Dr. Pepper. And well, that's about it. And so I'll just pop in randomly. She happens to be my dry cleaner as well. So it's kind of an excuse to start even using her services more because then it's just built in and, yeah. So you just like find out even something they like and just surprise them with it. It's like, oh, you heard me, you paid attention. It's so minor, but it like makes her day, like a drink, like a beverage.
Yeah. One of the things we're working on is a team is an intake form for clients. We have one right now that they fill out for an MLS portal, but we're working on adding just some of their favorite things. What's your favorite coffee drink? What's your favorite soda? What's your, just a couple little, do you have pets? Do you have whatever else? Because we can then make that experience even more personal for them, right? Like we can show up with their favorite coffee when we're going to showings. We can get them a new dog tag when they close with the new address, like just little things that can be super helpful, but really go a long way in the experience.
Wendy led that exact conversation with a group of us yesterday. Like we were brainstorming.
Really?
The ways we were talking about doing it, this or that kind of thing. Caribou or Starbucks.
Yeah.
Like the way you get to meet people. There are
And
a
you
ton
go
of them.
anywhere
Yep.
and you do an intake form. You go to the doctor, you go to the dentist, you go to, I mean, really.
Yeah, something easy.
Yeah.
Needs to be like.
It's a Google form, it's
circle
quick.
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, people love their pets. So they'll talk about them. I always do like a dog toy or a cat toy if they have for a closing. But they love that.
Huh? I have a bird coming up. Oh, God. Wait, let me explain. This young, new married, first time home buyers, that's their child. That's their first child. It's a parrot. It's like I don't know. So my daughter and I were sitting in PetSmart, like looking at all the birds stuff for the closing gift.
You're really nice. That's good. You're awesome.
But I don't know. I'm a cat girl. I'm sorry, everyone.
Not a cat
Except
person.
Tara.
Yeah.
Cat. Yeah.
I don't do birds. I don't. They kind of freak me out. Like the fact that they can just come flap in my face and I'm like,
That's what I think about. This one's learning to fly.
it's PTSD because I used to work retail and this client would bring her bird in all the time and like put it on my shoulder and I'd be like, go for it.
Yeah.
Anyways, Krista, you said that your leads have come to you through relationships that you've established over time. I know we've touched on this a little bit, but I think it takes a special kind of person to be able to have that kind of rapport with people in your life that they would trust you so quickly in big transactions.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, sorry.
my question is,
Yeah.
can you go back to the beginning of some of those relationships, and how might one be intentional in building relationships with those types of trust?
Yep. So I've just always valued my relationships in my life. And so I have a hard time. I've moved a lot as a kid. So I think being a pen pal, staying connected, like it just was part of my DNA because of that. And so I guess I just invest and I'm loyal to people by nature. And so that just is no different. So a lot of these people probably are products of that, just naturally. When I would move, I would keep in touch versus like my sister had an easier time just moving on, not writing people off, but just being like, that was the past. And so I think my relationships, I have relationships across the country. I'm still in touch with my best friend from kindergarten through Facebook, who lives in California, where I lived at that point. So I just think I've always valued people and friendships well over, I'm driven by that versus money. Like it just, I never will be driven by, it definitely helps, it puts my kids through college, but it's not my heartbeat by any means. So,
When we were prepping, we were talking about like Krista's like the values in the relationship and if people feeling like they got what they needed, got what they wanted, that they were valued over the transaction, right? And so they're never gonna feel for her like the closing was more important than their needs ever. And
communication. So I've been a communicator my whole life too.
yeah,
I don't love publicly doing it, but
well, thank you.
but that's also, that's a component I try to utilize in real estate. I was a communications major, but that's so general. But I think that's important.
What kinds of communication? Especially real
Starting
estate.
as a new agent, it was communication with Wendy almost daily. Well, definitely daily. And then leaning into co-agents, leadership, the marketing people that are helping me get all my things. But then when it comes to transactions, it's just working with the other agents, which I actually love. That's one of the things I really enjoy. I know you hear horror stories of working with agents, but I just had a great experience, I guess, and I'm thankful. Maybe my time's coming, but I just think the communication through the entire process. I never want people to be waiting on me, and I've actually had to improve on that because I would go to my son's baseball games and feel like I never want him to wait on me, so I have to make this call. So it's learning to just sometimes table that, but I want to keep people in the know because that's how I like to operate.
Right.
So I just kind of do what I prefer. I
Yeah.
function the way I like. people
And I
to
think
function.
whether it's good news or bad news, the communication is important. And if you can deliver those things kindly but directly and be honest, that's huge.
Yeah.
Right?
Right, it's like the method. It has to
Yeah.
be done, but it's just kind of the way.
And you're on their side. And at the end of the day, these choices are your client's choices. So
Yeah.
here's what happened. Here's our options. How would
Right.
you like to proceed?
Mhm.
I'm here however you want to. These are the pros and cons. Mhm.
And there's like urgency to things, but it's not an emergency. No
There are
one-
not very many emergencies in
Yeah.
real
No
estate.
one's
Even though
dying.
they feel like it.
Yeah, like they might, I mean, I don't wanna say that, someone could die, but,
That happened to me.
but like,
Here.
it's taken me a while to like step up the gas a little bit and be like, you can think before you type that email, or you can think before you answer that client's call, and you know what I mean? Because for so long, it was like, here's your call, go to it, like, think on the way there, so that's been a struggle, but work in progress.
Sorry. It's actually, I think it's even harder when you care about people like you guys do, because you just want to fix it. You want to fix. You want everything to be good. You want to just, but sometimes taking a step back, taking a minute to think, picking the brains of someone else,
Yeah.
taking a deep breath is actually the better answer to fixing it.
Totally, because then you don't sound all like flustered on the phone either. You sound confident, like you took a breath, and yeah.
Our job is to keep our clients here, right? Like the lines are here and they're doing this, and our job is to keep them here.
Yeah, you're the steady.
And not just our clients, but the lenders and the other agents and everybody else in the transaction.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it.
If they can get a rise out of you, you gotta check yourself.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be able to do that. At least not while you're on the phone, then you can hang up and swear. Hannah, you've had 3 transactions from open houses.
Yep.
I think agents that have quick success in open houses have an ability to establish rapport with people super quickly. So are there certain strategies you use in open houses? How often do you hold open houses? If a new agent wants to close that many transactions in their first year from open houses, how many do you think they should hold? It's on here. It's okay, you can come up with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make opens like one of the legs of my business. How's Jen, the little stool, you have to have so many legs.
Yeah, if you're getting all, you can't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah.
So if you have 3 legs, 4 legs of you kind of figure out what am I good at, what do I like?
Yeah.
If you're not a cold caller, then don't cold call, but you're gonna need to do more open houses then,
Yeah.
right? If you don't do social media, then don't do social media, but you better show up and have some one-on-ones with people, have coffees, have lunches, whatever. Figure out how you're gonna get in front of people, pick 3 to 4 and double down on them.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about doing opens, just think of it as like, if no one comes, I have 2 hours to sit here and do work. I turn on your music, like, I just try to look at it like that, like, I have 2 hours to lead gen or do whatever I need to if no one shows up. Dress well, you don't have to dress that way, but dress casual if that's what you like.
Just like yourself.
Dress like yourself.
Yeah.
Like I told them this last panel, I was in blazer and heels and I just felt uncomfortable up here the entire time. So dress how you feel confident and your people will know that. And at the open house, you don't want to seem, I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think you're totally right,
Yeah.
because you don't want to seem salesy, right?
No.
So then how do you connect with people?
I just actually had a open with Brooke, at her model home, and it was so windy that all my open house signs kept falling down. So every time someone came in, I was like, did you see my signs? Like, nope. Like, okay. Well, they're like, yeah, we saw them, but a couple fell. We picked it up and, just something silly like that. Because then it at least got us talking and then it kind of transitioned into the house, but it wasn't right away. It's like, hi, do you have an agent? Can I help you today? Just.
Are you shopping for houses?
Yeah.
Yeah, who isn't shopping it?
Yeah, exactly.
So you start with the people, establish a relationship, find something in common.
Yep.
And once you have the rapport, do you find that the transition into the home is actually a more comfortable conversation
Yes.
and they trust you a little bit more?
Yes.
Mhm.
And just make it casual. You don't have to have this big script. Just talk to them, and they'll ask questions. And I think my biggest thing is, like we mentioned, just be a really good listener. Just try to be quiet and soak it all in.
Yeah,
It's really easy to like, oh, I'll fix that. Being a fixer, right? Like, oh yeah, I know the answer to that, I know the answer to that, or I don't know that answer, but just let them talk. Yeah.
Well, there's a picture of what an agent should look like. So, aesthetically and in every way, but it's like, look around the room, like it's just unique to
Yeah.
each person. And I think that was freeing to me.
Yeah.
Because I thought too, I have to go invest in a bunch of blazers and like.
I did
So people know that I'm a professional,
You guys, I have a blazer in my closet from probably 3 years ago. That's still.
I mean, I do
on it.
Yeah. But that is a
That was
thing,
like a
you just
panic.
kind of
Yeah.
think you will present like an agent and that just doesn't work because you feel this uncomfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
At that point.
And then you're not connecting with
Yeah.
the people that you'd want to work with anyways, right? Like,
Yeah.
there are people out there that you want to work with, and there are people out there that you actually don't want to work with as much as you
No.
think you do. I promise you. There are people out there you don't want to work with.
Promise. Yeah.
Because then once you do finish that, you're like, wow, if I could do that over, I wouldn't. Like, there's no check that was worth that.
I'm blissfully unaware still. I'm in the honeymoon stage.
That's okay.
And I
I
think
hope you don't
just
get
like, if opens intimidate you, like, think of the reason why they intimidate you. Like, is it that you're there alone? You know what I mean? Or is it that you don't know what you're gonna say? Just like think that and try to run it through your head. Because there's a lot of people here that have a lot of tips to make it more enjoyable,
Mhm.
And I call it too, I don't want the cop to come out all the time, but it does. So like the creep meter, the ick meter, if someone gives you the ick, like,
Uh-huh.
just trust your gut. I've had that before where I'm like, this person, no.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And just trust them. Don't act like you have to still be nice to them. Obviously, don't be rude, but you don't have to.
You're not trying to create a relationship. With the ex.
Just know who you want to work with and they'll come to you because they'll just gravitate towards each other.
And I truly think the biggest piece of that is that when you're trying to just connect with the right people, you are not coming off as trying to win people over, be salesy, capture them as a client, and all of a sudden that trust is way easier to establish.
Yeah.
And that relationship is easier to establish. Those walls fall down a little bit more.
Yeah.
There's quite a few agents in here that do open houses. Do any of you have like things you say in an open house that helps you establish rapport quickly, or something that you say to people when they come in that's helpful that we could share? A lot of mine is like, just with the market, that's kind of been kind of crazy. I'll say to people, so how long have you been out searching? Right? And then I usually find a couple things out really quickly, like they've been looking for years and they haven't been able to find anything. They're just starting and they only look at Zillow. They have an agent and they hate their agent. They don't have an agent and they want an agent. They love their agent, right? I find a lot of things out from that question.
Yeah.
And usually people like to complain like, oh my gosh, we put in 7 offers and this is awful. Or, oh, we've just been kind of geeking at open houses.
I use that one a lot, and usually, especially if they come in smiling, I'll say, oh, you must be early in the process. You're still smiling." So it's just kind of lighten the mood
Sure.
that way.
Yeah.
So, or if they have anything on, any sports thing, or like Lakeville football, or something like that, it's like, oh, we had kids going through Lakeville football. How old are your, or do you have kids going through, and just pick up on something, whether they're wearing or bringing in or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and if there's more than 2, it's like, oh, we've got a party, let's go, you know,
Mhm.
always comment on, let's do a parade. So,
Yeah.
just like.
What about you two back in the peanut gallery? Same thing?
Sure.
There's someone behind me?
I don't do open.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
He's a lister. He's.
Cold calls.
Cold calls.
Yeah, that's even
I
weird.
do
Yeah.
really fun stuff. I do a lot of open houses. I try to touch everyone who comes into the house with every wear. So
You touch everybody?
I shake everyone's hand.
Okay.
and wave. I just don't just show it.
You asked him.
I don't know what not to do, but go.
Shaking hands is culturally accepted, and it breaks an important barrier.
Yeah.
And just have fun with them. It doesn't have to be about real estate, but they do have to have a good time with you. Part of, in addition to open houses, I try the whole 3 or 4 week now on the weekend. I always have events going, so I throw 4 events a year, so I have invites to them in my pocket. And if I like them, and I don't give them to everybody. Come have a beer with me in 2 weeks at Vice Brewing, which is next week. Yeah, we have an event next week.
Mhm.
And they're like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so they get the thing and it's got the QR code and they can go ahead and Eventbrite and they get their information. A lot of the people from last weekend are coming. It's gonna be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But it's part of it. And I've had 2 people contact me from the open houses this weekend to work with me and do stuff. And a lot of it came from just, hey, come have a beer, have a good time. If they have questions about the house, they're gonna ask.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, it's like, they're also not really there looking for an agent. And so we're there sometimes to find clients in the back of our mind, but they're not looking for an agent. So why would you lead with that? Right? You want to lead with the relationship. And then if it turns into the fact that they would need an agent, we can get there. But let's start with what they came to look at, which is what?
The house, it'd just be nice.
Yeah.
Just let me sit for that.
Yep. I think another question I have often is, are you a nosy neighbor or are you on the house search, right? And it depends on, you can kind of read the person, again, if you think that's appropriate, but people come in and you know if you could be kind of sarcastic with them or if you need to be a little more
The
reserved.
best first question is, are you pre-approved?
Right out the gate.
You have to be able to mirror match. You have to mirror match these people. And if people come in, like you said, and their eyes are down and they don't want to talk to you, then don't start peppering with questions about their buying experience.
We'll give them a second. Yeah.
I mean, those are like in my mind, special types of challenges where I'm like, I'm gonna break down your barrier and we're gonna be friends by the time you leave, but.
Oh, yeah. But I think if I was like, do you have an agent? Are
You
you
turn it at
they'd
them.
probably like turn right around.
You're reinforcing the
Yeah.
story they already told themselves before they came in,
Yeah.
which is that there's gonna be a pushy agent that I'm gonna have to avoid.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I got some really great nurture clients a couple weekends ago at the model. I don't know what it was about that day, but I had a thing for socks. And everybody takes their shoes off when they come in, right? So like, I noticed everybody that was wearing Bomba socks, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, Bomba socks, I've been wanting to try those. And this couple ended up visiting with me. I think you were there. They ended up visiting with me forever about socks and then come to find out they want to get married, they want to buy a house. He's a chemical engineer. I'm like, yes. So someday in a year, they'll be my people because of Bomba socks. Like,
Awesome. Yeah, find something to connect with. Robert said something that made me think of, it's not what you say to people that helps them decide if they like you or not, or have a connection. It's how you make them feel. And that's what they remember, is how you made them feel.
Oh, and a little bit of detachment. If you don't like them, cool, there's more. It's like
Yeah.
every town in Minnesota on average has about 30, 40,000 people. They don't have to like you. you'll find your people and you'll have a great time with them. Yeah.
Have you guys sent letters to people? Do you send handwritten notes? What do they say? Who do you send them to?
No. Well, should I say what I have done? Robert, help me.
You don't have to do them.
Yeah, I know.
You're on the panel for a reason.
But she also said that she's a pen pal. She literally said, I'm a pen pal.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no.
It's just been one more thing to do, but I have done newsletters. I've done a lot of more electronic, like digital. I have done my neighborhood. I did do a mailer. I did do one letter
What's the
to
letter say?
neighbors, just to say who I was, introduce my reintroduction.
I'm an agent. I'm
I'm an agent, I'm in your neighbor. I actually tried something different as I made it like a living card. So I did a QR code that was a video.
Ooh, that's cool.
Because I was like, I don't know, things come to me in the middle of the night. I don't know about you, but I'm like,
Do you have a note in your phone where you write everything down and they come to you?
should.
Yeah, start one.
so I get up early and I start doing it. But I just dreamed up that concept and I was like, hey, that could be cool because then they're putting a face to a name. So I did do that. I did some door hanging. I did door knocking with Wendy when I was brand new. And all the dogs in the neighborhood gravitated to her. It was amazing. So I've dabbled, but yeah.
So they scanned the QR code in your video said.
And my video said, hey, just super short. And I did that one pretty much on the fly. Thank you. Hi, Krista Foss, just thought you'd want to put a name to a face to a name. I'd love to be your person if you're in the home buying, selling, and I named the seasons of life. So like, looking for a new home or ready to downsize, upgrade, all the things. I've lived in this neighborhood for this many years. My kids have gone through these schools, like kind of like I'm one of you.
Mhm.
And
love-
I'd love to be your person and I'm right around the corner.
I love how specific you are in a lot of those things because if you're just generalized, people aren't going to connect with you. I think sometimes we want to connect with everybody, but if we're connecting with everybody, we're actually deeply connecting with nobody. And so if we can get really, really specific in the things that connect us, they hear something in there that's like, oh, I do like her because I can relate to her on X, Y, or Z. And I think that's for social media, that's for letters, that's for any mass marketing that we do. The more you niche down, the more actual real connections you're going to make. Because most people know a million agents. So if they just hear the same script from you, you're not setting yourself apart.
Yeah, and I did put a yard sign in my yard. So I did say, hopefully I'll see you outside because I love yard work, and I have a pin.
You love yard work.
Sign, but I have a kind of like a yard sign that's like in the pin, that pin shape.
Yeah.
That says neighborhood real estate agent.
Okay.
So it's just like a static thing
Mhm.
in my yard. So people walk their dogs and they hopefully connected the dots like, oh, I got that card. That's where she lives. So I'm trying, but I'm not good.
So you
at
actually have
anything.
sent letters and mailers. You've sent mail.
A couple, yeah, and I've done some. And I sent just sold,
You sell yourself short.
just sold.
Jason had a question.
You mentioned, Chris, that you did a newsletter. Where do you pull your material? Do you source it or make it easy to?
From Tara, It's designed in Canva, uploaded into Command. And
You send it out via
she
command.
did
or
a
you-
training that's incredible.
Oh,
You
it's
can watch the
amazing.
video. And I did it the next day. I stole her whole template, but I needed to get it out the next day. So that's something. And then Wendy's adopted it and it's a monthly and you can buy a template on Etsy that's already structured there and you just put your content, a couple things, change photos, contact info.
So we do.
Yeah, that's it.
We send ours via Flowdesk. I just like their templates,
Oh.
they're prettier, so.
Flowdesk?
Say that again, Flowdesk, Flowdesk. There's free versions and paid versions. I did free for a while, now I'm doing paid because they sucked me in. I don't know, but I think things like, again, specific, right? So who are your people? Who are you looking for? We do current events that weekend that they could go to in the Twin Cities. Like if it's fall, we do 5 pumpkin patches you could visit as a family. Here's the address, here's how much it costs to get in, here's what's cool about them. We usually do a link to our most recent social media posts, so like a reel that I made or a TikTok or something on social media that can lead them in, or they can opt in. We'll sometimes do a market update, depends on what's going on. We'll do, there's like 5 sections. I'll open it up and look at it. Well, Hannah, you talk about your mailing.
Yeah, the quick, just with the newsletter before I forget. And like like Robert said, like, if you don't do it, then just don't do it and find something else you love. So like, I was trying to force it for a long time. I took a break and now it's like kind of fun, but I don't, so I'm like, maybe that just isn't my thing, you know? Cause they can tell if you're like, this was kind of like put together in 10 minutes and it looks like crap and Hannah probably doesn't actually like this. So, but I have been trying to do them and we'll see if I stick with it, but it's very personable. It's not really anything about the market. Photos of my dog, the concert I went to, just connecting. But yeah, I do birthday cards for sure for everybody. And it took me a long time to get everyone's birthday in command, but once I did, it just pops up. And I have my letters and my envelopes and my stamps and my return address. And it's just like a simple process. Every day it's 10 minutes, sit and do your birthday cards. Because what I've found with those is that people want to say thank you to that. Like a little Starbucks gift card. I know Lisa Sorvig does like scratch offs. I wasn't putting my business card in there and I was like, well, why the heck aren't I? So then I did that. But people want to say thank you to that. So they either message me on social media or text me and it's not that expensive. The stamp is the most expensive part. So that's a good thing.
Birthdays, home anniversaries.
Yep, home anniversaries. On my newsletter, actually, I did a random like coffee giveaway at the bottom. Like if you made it to the end of my newsletter, click this and you get a free gift card. And like 10 people did it, but I think that was like, they probably felt very special.
Yeah.
Like I made it to the bottom and I actually read it. So I like called them all and I was like, gift cards in your inbox. Like I really appreciate you
so
going to the
smart.
bottom and actually reading this.
And you're reinforcing the habit. Now, guess what? They're gonna read your news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll tell you like the clicks on it.
Do you want to send me your newsletter? I'll read it.
Sure. Yeah, sure. But yeah, that's some ways with letters, I think.
You guys have a brand. What would others say is your brand?
Okay, my hope is that it's kind of like just the girl next door agent. The words that I thought of just reliable, empathetic, sincere, hardworking, and fun. So if you go to my website, it's kristafoss.com. The first on the landing page, the picture of me is walking and laughing. So it's just so that's like, you have one chance to make a first impression, right? Yeah. So that's kind of the goal. I want that to evoke that. I want to be perceived as that, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on that. Probably has a ways to go, but yeah, that's my
Awesome.
attempt.
Yeah, I think casual, but very caring. But like above all, I think like just that they can trust you. If people trust you, they're gonna trust you with this huge financial decision. So like, just don't break that. They'll know if you do and they'll know if you lie. So if you don't know the answer, just say, I don't know, I'll get back to you. But I think it's just building that trust really early on and being like, listen, like kind of like you said, like, I'm gonna be the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, but I'm on your team at the end of the day. Like, here's some bad news, but how are we gonna figure it out? So, yeah, I think I went off track. But what was the actual question?
Your brand. No, you did.
Oh, my brand, yeah.
I think we talked about that. I'm gonna skip a couple because we're getting a little tight on time. Imagine that for me. What are three specific things, and if you want to whittle it down to one or two, that would have helped you be so successful in your first year?
Okay. Sure. So asking a ton of questions of everyone, anyone, about anything, all the time. Like, that is just, I just had to. And I think there was an initial like leeriness to do that because I don't know, it's just.
You don't want to look like you don't know something.
Yeah, it's just humbling.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
you just kind of, or judge, perception, right? All the things, even among your fellow agents, like that comparison thing is real. So I think that hesitancy, but I learned so quickly. People are like here, and I'm fortunate, I think, because this is where I started my career, but I've not experienced anything but people being like on the edge of their seats, like, how can I help? Like, what can I do for you? You feel valued. And so, yeah, I think that's that's only number one. I would say having to just embrace the discomfort and the fear of being new, feeling like an imposter, feeling that ill-equipped and unqualified, facing that fear of failure, And then just, I don't know, just stepping in and doing it anyway. Like everything in you is going, you're not capable, like all that voice is just kind of like, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to be exposed for what you don't know. It's terrifying. And then just doing it anyway and surrounding yourself with people that'll do that. My family did that for me. Like they're like, you got this, mom. Like I have Post-it notes, like, go get them on your first day of school. And I'd be like, oh God, I don't know how to be a student. Like, how do you even be a student? Like, go back to school at my age. Like, it's hard. I have a whole new respect for them and online learning and everything. So that, and then, yeah, I already spoke to that, but basically this market center, leveraging the amazing tools, leadership, fellow agents that won't let you fail, and like just, yeah, stepping into that and realizing what you have. Because I wasn't actually very present in the office year one. We had just a hard personal year. So, yeah, I just kind of avoided interaction a little bit to kind of heal and grieve. My husband lost his job and there were just so many layers. So I was going, my first year of real estate was in tandem with a huge personal loss. That's also related to. So that's the tension of that. But yeah.
I think just your ability to show up and be vulnerable and just
Mhm.
keep putting one foot in front of the other
Mhm.
is special. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the vulnerability piece of that is very important. Like, I was just having a real shit day and I was like, I care about
She
you.
didn't make it through the panel without
That's just what it is.
And I think just like being like that, like I want to show up for you the best way possible, and you know me and you know how my brain works, and tomorrow I will be the best person for you. You know, like it's okay to, you're human and you have a life, so it's okay to let them know that. Just get a client. Get a client and you'll figure out the rest. You have hundreds of people here that'll help you. Just get your client and then don't stress about all the paperwork, or if your newsletter is perfect, don't go buy the fancy business cards, all the templates. Don't go get open house signs. You can rent them from here. I'm just thinking of ways because I came into it leaving policing and not working for some months, and it had to work. So like, how can I save as much money as I can? So get a client and everyone will help you with the rest. And it's okay if you make mistakes. You're human. Just laugh them off with them and just learn from it, because I do it all the time. And find a way to stay connected with your people that's really effortless. So my thing is, when I drive to the office, I think of, okay, who can I tell Siri to text? And I just get as many as I can get done in my 6-minute drive to work. Think about if you had a half-hour drive. You could be going crazy.
What do you type them?
It's just like, if I saw something on Facebook, or just like, hi, I don't know, like, hey, thinking of you, want to grab lunch this week? That's it. Send it. And then the next person be like, oh, I wonder if they got that job. Send it. Because then you get to work and you'll have 6 messages and you already started 6 conversations for your day. Even if it's people that you know are not going to buy a house. You know, I message my girlfriends and they're not buying a house anytime soon, but they might know someone and you just want to keep that connection. So
The more conversations you have, the more deals you'll do.
Yeah.
Period. End of the day.
make them easy. It doesn't have to be forced. If you don't want to pick up the phone, I know I have friends that won't answer me. They'll say, you called, ? So just know that you're certain people, you know, some want to talk
Millennials.
and some don't. So
I challenged my team today to send 15 texts that said, I made a promise to myself this year that when someone came across my mind, I would reach out to them. So that's what I'm doing. How are you? Simple. We're gonna go 5 minutes over, but it'll be fine because Value Squared, they're just gonna like introduce themselves for at least 5 minutes. But we are gonna just skip to them here.
That was gangster.
I know. I'm gonna just derail the whole market center. Is there anything you guys spent money on your first year that you wish you wouldn't have?
I didn't spend really until I was in production. Like I just didn't really spend a whole lot. My best investment ever was a planner from Target.
Yeah.
And my husband gives me a hard time. He's like, okay, 1980 called and they want their paper calendar back. But it is my lifeline.
Do what works for you.
It's my lifeline. It's a month at a glance and I can't imagine without it. Like, and I flip and I just, that is my thing. I have it on my phone, but it's hard to get them to sync, but I actually would go to my hard copy planner before my phone or anything else, which feels scattered. So that was the best investment of like $10.
Good, I like the price point. on
Use a paper plan
Really?
with a pencil.
Oh, totally. I use a
Okay.
pencil.
Okay.
One of the mechanical ones.
Like our Roger, like with the
Yeah.
pencil, he has one,
Huh.
and he only uses paper.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I would literally die without
I
my
just-
Google Calendar. Like, actually, I would have no idea where.
I
I'm
don't
supposed
use
to
that.
be.
I don't use
Same.
that, but I know I should.
I would die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dependent on it. It's actually
Yeah.
embarrassing. But then, I mean, really, the whole thing is you're trying to free up mind clutter
Yep.
with things that can be leveraged, right? Because your mind is actually, can only hold so many
Yeah.
things. And it needs you for problem solving. It doesn't need you to keep track of your calendar. There are tools to do that for you. So use them.
Yeah, I did business card and then I did like one sign, like what was that gonna do for me? But I bought like them as I could.
Yeah.
Like I just started with one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
That's the investment of me.
Anna, anything on investments you want to talk about?
I agree, like, I don't know, there's something satisfying about crossing off something on your to-do list with a pen. I don't know. I use Google Calendar and just like a notebook too. But one thing, like, just know yourself and know how you're gonna be successful working. Like, for me, it was a big change, working remote or wherever I want. So I knew, like, I had an office that was very sad looking and kind of depressing when you walked into it and I just knew, I'm like, if this looks cute and like motivating and calm, I'm gonna get work done. So I invested in that because I knew myself. And Nancy, I did it. So if you want to come look at my office, a little like, yeah, she did an awesome job. So if you're looking for like a good place to get your mind right,
Yeah.
even if it's like just cheap stuff, but if you know that, like me, these fluorescent lights are my worst nightmare. So I'm like, I have 3 lamps in there because I don't get a headache then.
And the biggest thing is don't spend the money you don't need to spend.
Yeah.
Start with connecting with people, which is literally free.
Mhm.
And you can start spending money when you start making money. But spending much money ahead of time is not going to help you.
No, don't spend anything.
If you think
literally
you
don't need
want to spend money on something, go talk to another agent that's been in for a while and ask them what they think about it.
That's why I do open houses, they're free,
Yes.
yeah.
Free, yeah.
Yeah.
Free. Is there's a lot of noise in the industry and in the real estate world.
Yes.
Was there any noise you guys got caught up in and how do you cut through it?
I think when I get a little slower, immediately it's like panic mode. You know what I mean? It's like, ooh, let me look on Instagram. What can I buy? You know, everyone's like, buy this real estate strategy. And then it's like, you get stuck in that so quick. But instead of going down that rabbit hole, just like, okay, how can I connect with people today then? I need clients. What do I need to do? Because buying a template isn't going to get you any clients. So I think just, yeah.
For me, it was like, yeah, doing my first transaction entirely from beginning to end helped me do that best. Because then it just like you get laser focused, you have that natural progression. It's when I don't that I'm like not good at that yet. Time blocking, I don't do well. I kind of like this interesting, I like having some freedom to my days and like reserve the right to do what I want with my time each day, but I know there's value in that. But there's so many classes, there's so many approaches, schools of thought, there's like, so trying to figure out like what to focus on. So I always end up going just back to keeping connected with my people.
Yeah.
And the rest kind of falls into place. So.
Brings us to our,
Which, by the way, can I introduce my friend real quick? Because she is not a licensed agent
Yeah.
yet, and she's dying to
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
That's Lindsay. So say hi to her. She's in school right now to become an agent, and she's my favorite person on the planet. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's Lindsay. She wouldn't know.
do you
anything.
want to say that?
Do you want to say that? It's right
Okay,
there.
she was at the end because eventually they're gonna cut me off. You've sent your letters, you've emailed your database, you've made your videos, you're 60 to 90 days in, you feel like you don't have anyone left to call, but you don't feel like you have enough business, right, to go. What do you do?
You think you saturated your people, but you haven't because you have conversations and you live life out in the world every day. So your dry cleaner, where you check out, your teammates, parents, activities, like you just talk to people where you are. Am I right, Corey? How you do?
No, I
So
think
there's more people than you think, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's it. And if you need just like a day of like nothing and you just need to focus and like, who are my people and who could I call? Just take a day and don't do any real estate and just try to get your head back on. Because sometimes you need a break. Take a day off, take a full day off, don't even look at your email. It's really hard. I haven't really done that yet, but I'd like to. And just know where your people are. What did you say? Yeah.
Talking smack back.
I know. So. Lost my thought. Anyway, so it's controversial to some people, but I do business up north in my hometown too. And I think that if I can be growing up there and knowing it, and it's 4,000 people, like that's all my high school people. So I do that. I drive up there and I do a good job, and if you have a listing that pops up, listings are much easier than buyers. But if something pops up in Duluth and you're like, I don't know how, just ask someone. We'll figure it out. Don't turn it down right away. Just think.
Tell us how far away?
3.5, like 4 hours, yeah.
You'd be right.
Tipping Chisholm.
Way up there.
Yes.
If you don't feel like you have anyone to talk to, I guarantee you're not gonna find anybody sitting in your house.
Yep.
So get out into the world. Go shop, go walk around the mall, go to a restaurant, go somewhere where you're at least around people and gives you a chance to have a conversation. Any advice for new agents? This is it, I promise.
Just find a client. Just have that be your first thing.
And then what?
And we'll figure it out. And then ask for help. And if you don't have a mentor, then try to find one, and people are willing to help. And the people that help you, treat them really, really well, because then they'll help you again. Let them know how thankful you are that they do that.
And it's true, find a client and there are a million
Yeah.
people in this office that will help you figure out the rest.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the rest. And don't let the rest of it make you worry so much about finding a client that you are scared you won't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
The rest of it is very figureoutable.
I would say get your reviews. It's hard to self-promote. It just doesn't come naturally. So one way to do that is to let others do that for you. And if you don't haven't had any production, get character, reviews. Just,
Testimonials.
yeah, because they can speak to things you can't and more, basically. So I think there's such value in that.
If people have questions for you, where can they find you? Are you willing to answer them?
Oh, yeah.
And I'll send out their info with the recording.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm sure.
We didn't know.
Thank you.